Hi guys, and welcome to Sunderland vs Morecambe match review. So Sunderland have just come away with a whopping 5-0 win against League One strugglers Morecambe. So, for me, of course, with games like this, you can't think or look too much into it because, of course, the opposition, although, you can only beat what's put in front of you. But there's been too many times this season when we have come up against struggling sides or, even League Two sides, depending on what the competition is. And we've struggled and we just haven't put teams to the sword, whereas tonight, we were absolutely fantastic. Don't get me wrong, we were shaky at the back at times, but we were clinical and we managed to scrape and keep a clean sheet as well, so you can't ask for more than that. But we will get into it. And first of all, I'm going to talk about the game against Oxford very briefly because, of course, I didn't manage to make a review on that game. I was there at the stage at the weekend when we took on Oxford, and when I come away from that game, I won't lie, I did actually feel really disappointed and really pissed off. Not even necessarily with the performance, because I think we actually played really well, but that Oxford, without being too disrespectful to them, because I gave them so much respect prior to the game, they looked really, really shit, and we dominated for large parts, and the only opportunities Oxford had, I think they had 2 chances the entire game, the whole 90 minutes, and those came from mistakes from us, one being Gooch, of course, which was a goal, and the other one, I think, was a slip-up at the back or a misplaced pass. Then other than that, we dominated and we just weren't clinical enough, whereas tonight, we rectified that kind of performance because, of course, Gooch tonight was absolutely fantastic, getting himself a couple of assists, and he was absolutely destroying their right back from start to finish. Don't get me wrong, their right back may as well have been deceased. But yeah, he absolutely ruined him from start to finish, and it was just good to get him happy again as well. Because in form, Lyndon Gooch in League One. I'm not going to go over the top again because we are taking on Morecambe again. No disrespect to them, but an in-form Lyndon Gooch in League One is a very, very useful player. But he needs to keep at that level, otherwise he becomes quite useless for us. But tonight he was absolutely fantastic. Got to give it to him. But yeah, getting into the review of this game. So we started off with Hoffman in goal. It was pretty much unchanged, but it wasn't changed from the weekend. At first it looked like a back 3, but it actually wasn't. It was a back 4 with Doyle and Flanagan in the middle. Bailey Wright playing right back. You had Gooch on the left-hand side as well. At times, Dietrich did come back and it almost made a right wing-back kind of situation. But for the large parts, it did look like a 4 at the back with Bailey Wright on the right-hand side and Gooch on the left. And in the middle, we had Winchester and Dhannoo. And then we had Pritchard in the hole, Dietrich on one side, like I say, Broadhead on the other, and Stewart up top. And that often changed. It looked like we actually finally understood the system that Lee Johnson was going for, because it did adjust and it changed as the game went on, depending on what the situation was. If you know what I mean, like there's times where Stewart and Broadhead were as a flat 2. There were times where Broadhead was going out wide and linking up and helping out with Gooch. Dietrich was cutting in at times, and he was sitting back at right wing back, like I was saying. So it was changing, it was adapting as and when we needed to, and the logic, it just seemed to click tonight. And what I really, really like to see, particularly first opening 20-25 minutes, when we did get the opening couple of goals, and we were so ruthless, the thing that I noticed we haven't had in recent games was the triangles. And what I mean by that is, regardless of where we were on the pitch, whoever picks up the ball on the pitch, they have a triangle of Sunderland players around them supporting them, and we haven't had that before, that kind of movement. For example, you'd have Dietrich on the right-hand side. As soon as he gets the ball, he was never without. He would have Pritchard, who for me was my man of the match, by the way. Pritchard, he would always come and tuck inside, offer, and then you'd have either Stewart or Broadhead coming across and offer as well, giving him a triangle of options, and they were always there, and there'd be quick fluid passing, he'd nick it into Pritchard, he'd always flick it on, it'd be a perfect second 1-2 pass. And that is what was happening. Be it plays in the middle, Daniel would pick up the ball, then Pritchard would come in deep, you'd have Winchester on the other side, and then have that triangle. They were always there, regardless of the position of the place on the pitch. Could even be centre-backs, you'd have someone coming deep and someone offering out wide. There was always options there, and that's what I really, really like to see. But getting into the goals, straight away, we were absolutely flying, peppering the goal beat with crosses. I think we had 4 or 5 corners in the opening 5 minutes anyway. But then it was Ross Stewart who finally gets himself back amongst the goals, which is something I've been screaming for. It was Gooch down the left-hand side. He takes on his man, drives it across goal, and there is Ross Stewart to nick it in at the near post. And then it's Gooch again with another assist. He's taken on the man. Like I said, he may as well not have been there right back, but he's absolutely done him. He's taken on one man, Lyndon Gooch. He's pretty much took it at the sort of almost the length of the pitch, kind of. He's took it to the byline, he's pinged it across goal, and there is Broadhead who gets the head on it to make it 2-0. Now, the thing that was relatively disappointing after that is, and I think they said it on the commentary as well, because we've seen it before when we go 1 or 2-0 up, we just kind of sit on it, and really I want to see us put teams to the sword, and eventually of course we did, but we did sit on it and we allowed Morecambe to come in, and we need to give Morecambe credit for that because they did have chances. When we're only 1-0 up, there was a diagonal ball that was put over the top, it beat Gooch, it's done him, and then I think it was Wildig for them who arrived late, 1-on-1 with the keeper. It's pretty much a 6-yard box, and it was kind of on the volley, but it's just kind of bounced up off him, and it's gone over the bar. They had a goal disallowed as well in that first half. So little things, just weren't quite going their way, and a couple of times, Flanagan was caught out for pace with their striker. It was a little bit lively and dangerous, but you kind of need that look of the draw, and generally we did defend well, other than the odd little moment here and there, but we saw it out to 2-0 at half-time, and I was absolutely buzzing with it, because I think going forward, like I say, we look ruthless, and one thing I do need to say, of course, Dietrich, right, okay, over the last sort of 2 or 3 match reviews and previews, I've really been on his back. And I'll tell you why as well, because I don't regret being on his back, because I think I'm just speaking honestly from what performances that I had seen of Dietrich, and he come with such a pedigree, and he's so excited to see a young lad. He does come from Germany, has a bit of pedigree about him, as I say, and it for me just hadn't performed. And then, it was funny because on Saturday against Oxford, I was sat with Michael Bowers, another great Sunderland YouTuber. I was sat with him for the first half, and he was fully aware of my opinion on Dietrich, and within 6 or 7 minutes he scored. So that shut me up. That really did shut me up, because I've really been on his back. But for me, as I say, I think his performances hadn't been great. But for me tonight in particular, we took his goal really well against Oxford on Saturday. But tonight, for me, the big thing that I've had against Dietrich has been his decision making, and his decision making was second to none this evening. It wasn't just hold onto the ball, dilly-dally on it. If there was someone making the overlapping run, he would give it a couple of times, off the ball, that will hopefully come. He maybe made the wrong run. Bailey Wright would actually bring it down the right side really well, and Bailey Wright is screaming for him to make the run off the ball, but then Dietrich would start running backwards and sort of offering him to play the ball backwards when it really wasn't necessary. We saw that with O'Brien the other week. He screamed at him to go forward, and he maybe just read the play a little bit wrong. But in general, this evening, he did very, very well with his off-the-ball movement, and he was picking out the correct passes in at the right times. He was making his running behind. So I need to give it to him. He was very, very good this evening. Very good. But then we get into the second half. Even though, the tempo had dropped quite considerably in the second half, even though I really wanted more. And of course, eventually we did get more. But the tempo had considerably dropped, which was relatively disappointing. But then we started to pick it up again, and the press was there again, which is fantastic. And Morecambe, although they tried to play it out from the back, they just simply didn't have the quality there. Then we'd intercept and we'd go again. So Dietrich went on the right side. He's put it into Dhannoo, who it looks like he's just going to try and keep it in at the byline, maybe just ping it across goal, but he's dumb in his man. His Cruyff turned it and brilliantly just laid it off to Pritchard, who thumps it home to the near post. A gorgeous goal, a gorgeous finish, and a great turn from Dhannoo with that magical little turn there on the byline. It's 3-0, and at this point you can see that Morecambe's heads, they've gone down somewhat, and then we start to really riot. Broadhead capitalises on a little bit of a mistake from the Morecambe defender. He can't get there. Broadhead gets there first. He's nicking inside. He's trying to shimmy his way from left to right. Pulls it back and then puts it back across goal. Bottom right hand corner to make it 4-0. Now, we did bring on Embleton. Kimpioka come on as well. And just trying to brighten things up a little bit. O'Brien come on. And so for the last goal, it was Dietrich. I don't know how or if it's going to get given to him, but he's got it on the right-hand side of the box. He's gone for goal. It took a wicked deflection, looped the keeper, and it looked like it was going over, but it's dipped just under the bar to make it 5-0. It rounds off a really, really good night at the Stadium Light, and there's rings and chants of Lee Johnson's Red and White Army. Am I, completely convinced that he is the man to take us forward? No, I'm not. But I will always say that I'm backing the manager, or at least I don't want him to fail. Do you know what I mean? I generally don't believe that he is the right man to take us forward, and I will happily raise my hands when he proves me wrong, and if he proves me wrong. But as of right now, after a 5-0 win against Morecambe, I'm not quite on the sort of Lee Johnson in bandwagon as of yet. But absolutely fantastic, 5-0, and at one point this evening we were actually second. I'll have a quick look at the league table As it stands in League One, I think we are third. Yes, we are in third. Rotherham on 41 points. You've got Wycombe in second on 41. We're a couple of points behind them on 39 points and 20 games played. We have a game in hand over Wycombe, so with a win we could jump into that top 2, but Wigan have 2 games in hand over us, and they're only a point behind us as well. Wigan do play tomorrow night. So, it's not like we're in a terrible position. It isn't like we're in a terrible position, but we need to keep this up. We can't just have, 2 or 3 decent games and then get battered by everyone around us like we did last month. We can't be having that again. Hopefully we are over this blip. We have Plymouth this weekend, which is an absolutely massive game. And if we win this game against Plymouth, I think that really is a statement result to the rest of the league, because Plymouth, of course, they've just lost their manager. So it's a decent time to play them. But they're a very, very good side. They're a very, very good team, and they've been absolutely bossing the league for the most part of the season. Only recently have they started to fall away a little bit in performances and in results as well, of course, hence why they've moved down the table a little bit, but they're still a very, very dangerous side. And if we manage to keep up the performance levels that we have tonight, keep the press going, keep the options going with Axel Pritchard, who is absolutely outstanding. I'm so happy for the lad, because he come in, he had a bit of an injury, and then he got fit again, then he got COVID, and then a little bits and pieces. We did see him, he looked poor, he didn't really know what he was doing, but he bossed it tonight. And you know what I really liked about him tonight as well? He was talking a lot. You could see him, off the ball, screaming at players. He's telling them to do this. He's congratulating players. He's saying well done to players, and giving them a bit of a bollocking if they need it. So he's got a gob in as well. I know he's only a little shit, isn't he? But it was offering everything. It was the all-round perfect performance for him. I think it was just really, really good, and it'll do him the world of confidence. And when he scored the goal, he put it over to Lee Johnson, and you can see it meant the world to him. Score at the stage of that as well. That'll do him the absolute world of good. So yeah, 5-0. I can't complain about that. Brilliant result. All I can say is, keep it up, lads. Please keep it up, because I don't want to start losing 4-5-0 to the teams around us again. And hopefully we have come out the other side and we can get another result this weekend. So what do you guys think of the game? Who was your man of the match as well? It'd be interesting to know, because there was a lot of decent performers tonight at the Stadium Light. But if you have enjoyed this video, please hit the like button for me. It'd be massively appreciated. And subscribe to the channel if you're not already, to become a fully fledged member of the Sarny Army. But for now, you take care and stay jamming.